This is a beginning point. This is the beginning of the rest of my life. I got the meaning, and I got to write it down, because I don't want to forget it.
Just win, baby.
And welcome back to the Gold Jacket Podcast, a proud member of the True North Fantasy Network. I'm your host, Jim Nastic, and with me, as always, my co-host, Connor Donald. Connor, man, how you been?
I have been great. First of all, huge shout out to Dan made graphics on that intro video for us. That is pretty cool.
Yeah,
way
chills.
way better than the thumbs up that I have to awkwardly give to start each broadcast.
Yeah, man, that is awesome. Gave me chills. I probably watched that about 6 or 7 times when I finally found out that it was there waiting for us. Apparently it was there a little longer than I knew, but yeah, man, that is awesome. Love it.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And I'm doing great though. I'm doing awesome. I'm ready to talk some fantasy football. It was a much better week, but still lots of really interesting storylines to dig into for sure.
Oh man. Surprise, surprise, another injury at MetLife Stadium. Oh man. But with that, let's dive right into that. Who you got on tap to start us off there, Connor?
Oh, I think we were going to talk the Austin Ekeler injury. Was the first one because I believe that's the biggest one. It sounds like he's going to be out for like longer than the IR stint. So definitely past 3 weeks, whereas Nick Chubb, it doesn't look like it'll be past 3 weeks. It'll probably be right at the 3-week point. So, I mean, we were talking about the concerns with Joshua Kelly and his fumbling potentially. But I mean, it's quite clear, I think, that he would become the lead back in that offense. I don't think Justin Jackson's a threat, maybe? I don't know.
I don't know, man. They do. Justin Jackson seems like he does everything that Joshua Kelly does to a lighter degree. But with that, actually, I wanted to get your thoughts real quick because I made a trade about halfway through that game. It was before the Austin Ekeler injury. Guys in the league originally thought it was a little one-sided. It was in a Superflex league. Lo and behold, Jim Nastic did not have a viable quarterback in the Superflex going forward. So I needed to fill a Superflex. So offer got sent to me. I'm checking my scores about halfway through the game. I see it come through. Joe Mixon smashing. It's Joe Mixon, Bobby Trees, and Phillip Rivers. I smash accept, and I give a second-round pick, smooth play JK, and the guy that's coming for that tight end crown, George Kittle. So Kittle obviously had a huge game. JK looks like he's going to end up taking the lead back role. All of a sudden, now it looks like it's a more even play. Maybe even I overpaid. It looks like a little bit. I like it though because I needed that super flex spot sealed up with Phil Rivers. Mixon goes bananas, and I lock up a wide receiver that I needed that I could play in the flex and Bobby Trees. But how are you feeling with that? With Ekeler going down, you're thinking JK is going to be the play, or?
Yeah, I definitely think so, especially when you're talking about that backfield. But I mean, I think it's definitely going to hurt from the receiving perspective because Austin Ekeler was always that security blanket where I'm not necessarily of the belief that Jackson he's proven he can do it. And so has his name's skipping me and you were just saying it. But Joshua Kelly, they're both like, I think they're going to miss Austin Ekeler being that security blanket. I really do. I don't think anyone brings those sure hands like Austin Ekeler did, which I think could end up being a benefit to a guy like Hunter Henry. It's definitely not going to be of benefit to a guy like Keenan Allen because Keenan Allen's already seeing ridiculous amounts of targets, like copious amounts of targets. And I think it was Ty who put a post up about how many targets he's seen. I think he had saw 12 targets this past week. So obviously, I don't think it's going to help Keenan Allen anymore, but I do think it could help Hunter Henry owners pretty big.
Me too, actually. I'm right on you with that. I think a lot of those Austin Eckler targets are going to be absorbed by Hunter Henry. Just with defenses seem to be getting to Justin Herbert. I'm loving this kid so far, though, man. I'm not liking Anthony Lynn saying he's making rookie mistakes. Of course, he's making rookie mistakes. He wasn't ever supposed to play this year this early, but the kid is being thrust into a role, and like I'm loving the composure for the most part that he is showing. And like you said, losing in a quick check down dump off guy like Austin Eckler that he is known to be doing. If Mike Williams comes back healthy, now all of a sudden I don't think Hunter Henry and Mike Williams are all of a sudden cannibalizing each other where they do a lot of their damage in the same type of field. I think Hunter Henry can absorb a lot of that, and all of a sudden now you don't have to worry about starting a Keenan, a Mike Williams, or a Hunter Henry, depending. I mean, if Mike Williams is even healthy. But yeah, man, I'm right on the same page with you with Hunter Henry absorbing a lot of that receiving work. Obviously, it's not going to be 100% of that, but I would say a good chunk. That is for sure.
Definitely. And I mean, obviously, you can see Joshua Kelly. He's going to get a golden opportunity here. But I don't think this is one of those ones where Austin Eckler owners have to necessarily worry about what's going to happen when Eckler gets back, because Eckler's going to come back and he's going to fit right back into his role as if nothing happened. This isn't Leonard Fournette getting injured. This isn't someone who's at risk. Philip Lindsay's injury. It's not someone who's at risk of losing their job in any way, shape, or form. But I mean, I think you definitely have to evaluate based on who they're playing each week, who's going to eat those extra targets up. If it's a team that is really bad at the linebacker safety position, you could see a guy like Hunter Henry really take advantage. If it's a team like the Seahawks who can't seem to figure out how to defend a wide receiver to save their life, then I would be playing Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, wherever I can. And it seems like even Justin Herbert's hitting up some of the no names, some of the people that we did no clue who they were coming into this season.
Oh yeah. I do disagree with you though by saying Austin Eckler has his job safe. Unlike Philip Lindsay, I do think Joshua Kelly is talented enough to take that job. He definitely can bang between the tackles. We've seen it. He just needs to, I don't know, dip those hands in some stickum or something, man. Learn how to get one of those balls that beeps if you don't hold it high and tight or something. But like, man, he has the talent. He could be that guy. It is absolutely insane. But yeah, let's keep this going moving forward with some more storylines.
100%. I think it was a running back heavy week because I also want to talk Ronald Jones. We saw Ronald Jones. I'm a Ronald Jones truther. I love Ronald Jones. I actually do think he's the RB1 there, despite Leonard Fournette being there. So I guess I'm prefacing this with some bias. But Ronald Jones or Leonard Fournette, I know Ronald Jones has had some deadly drops, some ugly, ugly drops that could be real difference makers in making him an RB1 versus being an RB2. But last year with Leonard Fournette, you also saw he was a boomer bust player. He was like the Amari Cooper of running backs because he needed that 90-yard run, and that was the make or break for fantasy owners. They waited for the fourth quarter for that. Ronald Jones, I find, is showing a lot of consistency. What's your thoughts in that backfield?
My thoughts are when Ronald Jones, and I was getting behind him, I was a huge believer that the Texas Tesla, huge believer in the Texas Tesla coming out. He was either the youngest or the second youngest running back in that draft class behind Kerryon Johnson. I was a big believer. I thought guys were throwing him out to the waist too early in his rookie season. But the fact of the matter is, with who's behind center in Tampa Bay, you need to be able to catch the ball. And when he did not catch the ball, and I watched, do you know who I looked at when he dropped passes? It was Tom Brady's reaction, because Tom Brady's the one who's going to be determining if he's going to be on the field for those types of situations. Don't fucking get it fooled, man. Like, Tom Brady doesn't have a lot of like a lot of years left. He's not playing for another 10 years. He's going to get what he wants on that field. And He wants to win another ring. He wants to probably prove that it is him. It's not Belichick, and he wants the guys around him that are going to produce. And you know what I saw when Keyshawn Vaughn gave that second effort on that pass after
Tom
going into the
Brady
end zone?
was hyped.
Yes,
But
that
I've
is
never-
exact. Did you see his reaction?
I haven't seen Tom Brady celebrate like that with someone in a while, man. He looked like he was so proud of his firstborn child for something.
I would start buying Keyshawn Vaughn shares now if you haven't been for cheap or even a little bit more, because like the reaction of Tom Brady when Ronald Jones dropped those passes, and then the reaction of Tom Brady when Keyshawn Vaughn second effort and banged in for that corner end zone, night and day. And
But I mean, could we not be looking at, and I know that Leonard Fournette kind of throws a wrench in it for this season, but could we not be looking at like a Sony Michel, James White type mix where you have a true, first down, second down, short down,
so which one's
situation guy? I was thinking more Ronald Jones, because Ronald Jones will go on the ground and give you 100-yard game with 20 carries, but
I don't want Sony.
He's gonna go 50% on a catch rate.
But I'm not liking Sony. I didn't like Sony Michel as a viable running back to be investing in.
Which is true, and I can see why people wouldn't want to invest in Ronald Jones. There's reason to invest, but there's also reason to not invest in Ronald Jones because of those drops. That was one of the things. Like, it was like he caught like 300 balls in the offseason, and everyone's like, well, maybe he cleaned up his game, and then he goes out and does something
but those
like
are junk
that.
machine balls.
Well,
exactly. You don't got anybody
And-
pushing on you.
But I mean, you would assume if you're even catching 300 jug machine balls that you're going to be able to catch a football come the season. And
absolutely.
I don't think we should write Ronald Jones off necessarily as a complete loss in that, because I mean, he did go 3 of 6, which is a pretty ugly completion percentage. But the fact that he's catching balls is
as a talent. But again, I'm looking at the situation as a whole and trying to look at it more as what an organization is going to do with the situation. They don't give a fuck about fantasy football. Like, they don't. I know we do, but they don't. And like, the fact of the matter is, if Ronald Jones isn't on the field because the quarterback doesn't want him on the field, you tell me how you're getting points. Because if you can get points by sitting on the bench watching plays, like, man, I'll draft Chase Daniel 101. You know what I mean? Like, and I don't know. Like, I'm not giving up on Ronald Jones yet. I do have him rostered. I had him rostered in a couple leagues this week, but I'm seeing the writing on the wall. So I think I'm going to try to be getting Keyshawn Vaughn in there.
Definitely. We'll I think that we'd be able to more easily kind of evaluate this backfield if it wasn't for Leonard Fournette. If we were looking at Ronald Jones,
I'm not even worried about Leonard Fournette and Ronald Jones.
I don't really
I'm
worry
not worried
about him either.
The snap share says it's Ronald Jones out of those two.
Definitely.
The one I'm scared about is Keyshawn Vaughn. If he shows he can actually bang and pick up protection, like if he can protect Tom Brady, that's another thing in Tampa Bay. I never realized just how good apparently this New England line must have been, because like Tom Brady, I've seen get sacked and tripped up from behind at least 3 or 4 times in the last 2 weeks. Like, he has no spatial awareness of what's happening once a lineman has beat the edge and coming around from behind him. But he has that one little step up in the pocket, but if he starts to move, I saw him get shoestring tackled and then double sacked from behind. I think on the same drive, like, I had no clue that the New England line was that good where he didn't have to worry about it. I'm worried. So, like, that's another thing. Like, these running backs got to be able to pick up blitzes and give him some time, man. Because again, like, apparently, if he gets beat from behind, forget it. He does not recognize that there's pressure coming from him.
No, and that's one of the things that they wanted Ronald Jones to improve on. But I'm not necessarily of the belief that Jones, Fournette, or Vaughn are the answer yet is picking up those protection and being that added bonus. If you can do that protection, if it's Leonard Fournette who picks up on it, or it's Ronald Jones, whoever learns to protect him first, it's going to be probably Vaughn and that person who end up the 1-2 in that backfield week in and week out. Because as soon as you have that guy who can protect, it's a humongous difference maker, and we've seen it countless times on some teams. I mean, we don't care about it as fantasy people, but it is something you definitely have to look out for. we should, because there's a lot of running backs who've lost jobs strictly on the fact. Like Ronald Jones has fringe lost his job a
Like
couple
Zach
times now
Stacy.
because of that.
Yeah.
So it's definitely something you should look out for if pass protection is an issue. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, they said pass protection was kind of an issue. He's kind of, but I mean, you got Patrick Mahomes who will move out of the pocket and do any damn thing
You
he
better
wants.
fucking protect him, man. Listen, you better protect him. Half a billion says you protect him.
I would damn well say so. That is a very expensive investment, and you better get in on it. You better protect that man.
Yeah.
But we'll continue on with some more running backs because it's a big running back week. And this
Yeah,
is
man.
one that irks me beyond belief because my shares of this backup who should be a starter are crying right now. Chase Edmonds or Kenyon Drake. Jim,
We're starting Edmonds in the listener league this week, didn't we?
yeah, I think we did. I even said it last week. I even in the Gold or Fool's Gold segment, I said Gold, a deep pick, Chase Edmonds.
You did.
And he
paid
pumped out
off.
15 PPR points. Not bad. Not bad.
Absolutely.
Definitely not for a number 2 running back. So
Give yourself a Barry Horowitz pat on the back there, man. One of those. Yeah, that was a great call.
so my question to you is, which one? Is it Chase Edmonds or is it Kenyon Drake? And I've said it countless weeks now. Kenyon Drake would not be on a transition tag if he was a future in that backfield. So that's simply where I stand.
I've been beating the drum for the past at least 3 years that Kenyon Drake couldn't beat out anybody at Bama. Couldn't. And then they say, okay, Bama runs a 3-man set. It's good. It's in order to keep guys fresh going into. Okay, no problem. And the guys he's playing against Bama were beasts. I'll give him that. I go, he didn't beat out Damian Williams in Miami when the opportunity was there. Right? Damian Williams won that job to begin with. And I go, he couldn't do it. I go, like, Kenyon Drake, now what is he, like 27? That people think he's like 34. He's not, and I don't even think he's an old 27. He's kind of like, I always said he was kind of like the Marcus Allen, where like he went to the Chiefs late in his career, but I still think was like 4 years younger than what his actual age was because of the tread on the tires. But I'm not an Ebron, or I'm sorry, I'm not a Kenyon Drake believer. I've never been a Kenyon Drake believer. I've always been a Chase Edmonds believer. I always thought as soon as they drafted Chase Edmonds that it could have been his backfield once DJ was gone.
Yeah, and I mean, I even tweeted out during the week, like somebody had posted it, and I'm seeing like free and Eno posts like, "Are you not watching Chase Edmonds?" I agree. Eno Benjamin should come out eventually, and he will come out next year when Drake is long gone because I don't think he's coming back. But Chase Edmonds,
but he's not even a lead back yet. Like,
no,
he hasn't shown anything to be a lead back in anything.
No, definitely not.
Not in practices, not anywhere. What are you free Eno?
Chase
Edmonds.
Chase Edmonds, free Edmonds. I would take him in Philadelphia as a compliment to like a Miles Sanders.
Well,
damn,
to
like
be honest,
you need to free this man. I posted on Twitter this past week. He's the top 20 for production efficiency, and Kenyon Drake's like 50th among running backs.
See, 50th. Well, that's actually a very good segue into what I wanted to talk about. See, I wanted to talk about the firing of Bill O'Brien in Houston. And thinking that I've been hearing cries and calls of a lot of different coaches that could possibly want to be coaching this team. And as a Chiefs fan, it really pains me to say this. And we've talked about it because I don't want to see him go because I'm greedy because he's a great guy. But Eric Bieniemy, I think him in Houston would be a fucking sick fit, man. Like, you get Deshaun Watson with Eric Bieniemy. And possibly, now we were talking about just there, Chase Edmonds. If you can somehow finagle a trade with Arizona, it seems to be you have some sort of open door with them with trading DJ and Nuke. But try to get Chase Edmonds in a deal. Because if you could have Watson with Edmonds, oh my God, that'd be nice. Get that line short up, and it might take him. And again, with Eric Bieniemy going there, you'd have to give him at least a 5-year stint, considering you've depleted the draft picks for at least the next 2 foreseeable years. But I think both firsts and a second, or a first and 2 seconds are gone. It's like you got to give him some time to build. But I think if he could get, and there's 2 players I'd like to see go to Houston with Eric Bieniemy, and then one of them was Chase Edmonds to lock up that backfield, and the other one is fucking Allen Robinson, because the Chicago Bears don't know what the goddamn doing with him. They don't want to extend them. Fucking go to Houston with Deshaun Watson and start banging bucks out there, man. With Eric, could you imagine that, the Houston Texans with Chase Edmonds in the backfield, Deshaun Watson, and Allen Robinson with Eric Bieniemy head coaching? That'd be deadly, man. That would be
listen,
deadly,
like
deadly
I like Will Fuller. I think there's a ton of potential there if the man can stay healthy. I like Brandon Cooks, but the same thing. I know he hasn't missed a lot of time, but man, there's just something about him that I just can't fully get behind. But Allen Robinson, I can get behind Allen Robinson. I can get behind Chase Edmonds. Chase Edmonds deserves to own his own backfield. And at this point, if the eyes aren't opening for Cliff Kingsbury, I don't know what else is going to open your eyes. This man is efficient, whereas Kenyon Drake is as far from efficient as you can get in a running back right now. He got lucky at the end of last year that Chase Edmonds was hurt, because he wouldn't have even been getting the transition tag this year if Chase Edmonds wasn't struggling with injuries.
There's 2 other running backs I could also see maybe going there. I know, like, because they're not going to get them in the draft. Let's just pay, like, you're not going to get your Travis Etienne's or anything like that in the draft. There's 2 other backup running backs in the league that I love that are not getting their due on their teams. And one of them I don't think could possibly happen, because I think Mark Ingram's going to walk, and that's Gus Edwards out of Baltimore. I could also see banging back there. And another one, and it's surprising, and I think they could get this one. It's Mike Boone out of Minnesota. I think Mike Boone in Houston could be a pretty deadly combination. But since
definitely,
that has not happened,
I think Bieniemy definitely deserves the opportunity. I completely agree.
He's going to get a job.
At this point,
depends if it's the Jets or if it's Houston.
Yeah, at this point, no matter what, like, this man has the opportunity to turn it around. But there's some work that needs to be done with those teams, like you said. Even in Houston, there's definitely some work that needs to be done there, and they're kind of stuck with Bob and his ego, because he wanted to be the manager, he wanted to make player decisions, he wanted to do it all. And look what happened. He was about to take over the play calling this week. Heaven knows what was going to happen.
Well, you can't blame the head coach. You got to definitely blame the GM on those moves.
You mean the same guy who was doing it all anyways? Yeah, so but listen, I'm pumped for Deshaun Watson, man. They're wasting a lot of talent there. They needed to get Bill O'Brien out of there. So 100 times the respect for whoever made the decision to fire the coach/manager. It was probably the owner that stepped in and said, "Someone, please, I can't watch this any longer."
You're depleting my stock value.
But I think, as we talk about Chase Edmonds and his emergence, let's talk about another emergence in one of our final storyline checkups of the week, is Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon emerged against one of the worst defenses in the NFL. So what are your thoughts to this? Is he back? Was he ever gone, or was there just an overreaction by people?
Okay, here's what I'm thinking that is happening with Joe Mixon, besides the ineptitude of Zach Taylor and just his inability to know how to use that man. I mean, you're using Gio Bernard in some weird situations. But everybody knew this was Joe Mixon's get right game, man. Everybody knew it coming into it, right? Everybody called it. This is the get right game. This is the get right game. Sorry about that. Yeah, and even I said it. I think I even tweeted you guys. I go, condolences again, Joe Mixon, about your aunt. But I said as soon as his aunt passed away, I go, this guy's gonna go gangbusters against this fucking defense, man. I go, his job's almost on the line. But I think with Joe Mixon, it's very much like Derrick Henry was earlier, where like he's a slow starter, man. Like last year, he did the same thing, did the exact same thing. And then went gangbusters to end the season for you. If you bought low at the right time, he definitely helped you win a ship. Don't get that twisted at all. Um, and here's the fact of the matter, man. Whether or not he was doing anything with those touches, he was getting the touches and he was still getting the volume and he wasn't injured. And this year with COVID says a lot. So I don't think he went anywhere. So I don't officially think he's back. But if you were trying to sell him, here's your chance. But I think you're stupid if unless you're out of contention. If you're 1-3 or 0-4, sure, I get it, man, because you're probably there because you were relying on him as your RB1 and he wasn't doing anything. Maybe not, right? So like maybe you do want to flip him for a couple extra pieces. Maybe he was like the 1 or 2. Maybe you got like just him and like Devontae Adams or him and Julio Jones and then like a bunch of other scrubs. This is your window to sell him, and I get it. Like maximize your value, start your rebuild now. You're 1-3, you're 0-4. I get it. But if you somehow like rolled in and you're somehow like 3-1, no, you keep Joe Mixon, man. Like he's rolling, he's not hurt, and he's like seems to be a rare commodity this year to find a running back that's not hurt.
Yeah, I think that's one of the biggest things. The fact that he's not hurt, the durability that he has. He had a minor chest injury heading into the game, but that's 32 straight games that he started and played in. So the
And what he hit, like 15 carries?
Yeah, I think it was something in that ballpark, and he ended up. Well, we all know what he ended up with from PPR, like that. But I mean, maybe the fact that Gio's there is a good thing to kind of
Well, I don't want him seeing 25 carries or anything.
No,
but
exactly.
Maybe he is a guy that needs maybe he is a guy that needs like the 18, 19 carries though. I don't know. Like there are guys that just find the rhythm, right? But so maybe that's what's taking him 4 weeks to get in because he's getting the volume, but maybe he's just not getting enough to hit it, right?
Me, I don't necessarily believe that it's a volume issue, but I do believe it's the ineptitude of Zach Taylor to realize he's got a 3 down back. He doesn't need Gio Bernard. He can bring Gio Bernard once in a while in the blowout games or whatever in those situational circumstances. Go ahead, but why bother? You got your 3 down back in Joe Mixon. He showed it this past week. He's a receiving back just as much as Gio is. And then also the ineptitude of that offensive line that they're continuing to work on. Obviously, they are continuing to work on it.
Jesus.
But I was looking up the ranks before this, and they rank like not even bottom. They're like bottom 5th of the league in almost every category, whether it's stuffed, whether it's stuffs, whether it's just protection in general. But when they get to the second level, suddenly it becomes a whole different game. If he's able to make it to the second level, they're actually they're a good second level offensive line, but that's mostly due to the fact that obviously you got Joe Mixon, and when he's able to hit that second level, the difference that he can make getting to that level versus being stuck in a pile of guys who can't block for him.
Gio's another guy. If I was the Bengals, I'd maybe be looking at trying to trade. I don't know, like you got another competent back behind him too, and Travion Williams. That's another guy. Like you have a very competent back. Like I don't get it, man. Like especially now with like I said, you got guys going down and injuries all over the place, COVID happening. Like I don't know, you could probably get something. Pretty sure the Jets need something going on right now. They got
the Jets need like receivers, running backs, a tight end. That's not.
They don't need receivers. They got one. They got Braxton Berrios, man.
Oh man. They got no. Screw Berrios. They got Jamison Crowder, man. The minute the Crowder goes in, I listen. I have Crowder in so many leagues, and I sat him everywhere because I'm like a guy who's not 100%, and it's his hammy. No way he's seeing the targets, man. Sam Darnold loved.
It was the right process, though, man. It was you can't beat yourself up about the process. The process was sound.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. But speaking of Jamison Crowder and his return, let one final storyline because it's something that I'm seeing all over Twitter, and I gotta talk about DJ Moore. DJ Moore, buy, sell, hold. What are you doing?
Are you selling them? If you're selling them, come
I am
come
not.
Talk to me. I'll come buy them for sure.
I literally have him in one league, and I'm not selling him in that one league, and in a bunch of other leagues. People were asking way too much, but I think that price could be very realistic now because you could be seeing a situation like Mixon where you got some frustrated owners. But I mean, you look at the set, he's seeing 30 targets. The volume's there, man. His counterpart Robbie Anderson seeing 32 targets. But I mean, like I got some stats ready. Listen, I got some stats. So he's number 9 in targets, number 11 in target share, number 4 in completed air yards. the biggest things missing, 0
Touchdowns.
total touchdowns. So his
Yeah.
catch rate and his catch rate's not looking great. His premium stats are not looking great because he got no touchdowns, and the yak needs to come back. Last year he was averaging 2.9 yards per target in yards after the catch. This year, 0.7. So the yak has to come back, and he's got to start seeing some red zone targets.
Okay, I love it. So yeah, like I'm buying them, and I saw 2 tweets earlier, and one was he's like, it's clear and obvious that Robbie Anderson is the alpha wide receiver in Carolina. And we're like, are you sure about that? I'm like, the targets are like, and I saw like immediately, like this tweet went up and like, bam, 15 seconds later, like this guy had a response. It was almost like he like knew it and it was waiting. It was like, boom. He's like, do you understand? He goes that like the targets are almost right there. And he's like, DJ Moore, like, and he posted like DJ Moore's 2019 stats through the first 4 weeks and 2020 stats through the first 4 weeks, and like they're fucking identical except for those goddamn touchdowns. And he's like, I'll take a 1A to 1B thing at this point because Christian McCaffrey's out. And he goes, but even that I wouldn't fucking really consider because he's like, DJ Moore was still feasting when CMC was there. Meanwhile, like Robbie Anderson took the bump up on CMC. And like this guy put him on blast like real quick. So like, yeah, I'm buying them. I'm not panic selling them. If I did sell him, it is for a definite like, here's something. Okay, I like to call them blockbusters, where like I'll just shake up a team for just shaking it up, right? But like I'll trade like 3 or 4 like big name studs, or right for like another. But like I don't want like scrubs back. I obviously want like some studs back. Like I trade like say a Lamar Jackson, a CMC, and like a Travis Kelce, and get I don't know something back. Like I said with that deal the other day in the mid thing, I traded I think it was Kittle and Kelly, and I got Mixon and Rivers back, right? Like I don't care. Like I'll make some fucking plays, whatever. Then in another league, I threw out if anyone wants to make a trade, and it's a 1 QB league, I'm like, if anyone wants to make a trade, like let's go at it. I'm 3-1 right now. I had Cam on the COVID, so I picked up Big Dick Nick to fill in for the week. And all of a sudden, lo and behold, in my box, what was it? I showed you. It was like Darren Waller, Lamar Jackson, I forget who else. It was like 2 pretty big other big names, and it was for like Antonio Gibson and James Robinson. Oh, Nick Chubb. Sorry, it was Nick Chubb. And I ended up giving like Antonio Gibson and James Robinson and it was a bunch of my bench players. Joe Burrow.
Too much hype. There's just so much hype around.
I
Besides
couldn't
Joe
believe
Burrow,
it.
it's the hype around Gibson and Robinson. Like I'm taking those established pieces any day and every day.
Oh,
And that's the thing,
right? But
but that's the thing with DJ Moore. He's an established piece. This is a guy that no matter what, like Robbie Anderson's here, he's here, but these two are going to be future pieces for Carolina for a long time to come. Well, Robbie Anderson, we'll see when his contract's up here in a couple years. But DJ Moore's 23 years old. 23. If you think he's going anywhere anytime soon in this Matt Rule offense, you are out of your mind.
Where do you think there is going to be a wide receiver that I think moves though in 2021? And I just want to quickly ask you where you think he ends up going, because there are a lot of teams that do seem to be wide receiver needy, and that's Juju Smith-Schuster. I don't think he is staying with Philly, or sorry, Philly. As you threw that out, I don't think he's staying with Pitt. Just want to know real quick, where do you think he goes in 2021?
Man,
or do you think he stays in Pitt?
If we weren't sitting with a $50 million cap hole, I would be all over Juju coming to Philadelphia. But obviously, there's nothing going on there but letting stupid contracts go. But yeah, man, I think Pittsburgh would be nuts to let him go. I understand why they think. I think, and just like a lot of people in fantasy think, he's a byproduct of Antonio Brown. He's a byproduct of the fact that he did so well because he was a wide receiver, basically 1B behind Antonio Brown because Antonio Brown commanded so much attention. But I
Yeah.
do think that they would be absolutely delusional to move on from him. And but where would I see him going? Oof, man, that is a tough one. That is tough. There are a lot of QB needy teams, I guess, but a lot or wide receiver needy teams. But the wide receiver needy teams are like, how far along are you in your rebuild? Is Juju a piece that you can see being the core of your wide receivers for the next 5 to 6 years when you sign him? Because I could see like the Giants. If you think you got Saquon Barkley, if you think that Daniel Jones is a future at your quarterback position up for debate, then why not? Washington, maybe Washington. Washington,
Oh,
if you think Dwayne Haskins is a future, which it kind of looks like you might be in the ballpark for Lawrence or Fields this year. Well, who's to say that Juju can land there? I don't want to see them come to my division, but they make so much sense.
okay. You know where I'd like to see him play?
Kansas City.
Fuck no. Don't get me wrong. I just don't think we could have the space to do it. But where I think he would flourish the most, where I think there is a QB nearing the end of his career, but still has at least 3, 4 years in the tank. That's for sure. Probably I'd say about 5. But that's Green Bay. I would love to see Juju in Green Bay with him and Adams, man. Oh
That
my
has
God,
like AB Juju like written all over it. Adams and Juju would be
sick,
easy 2 1,000 yard receivers,
sick
and they would give like, man,
with Aaron
if you're
Rodgers
able to
and
keep
Big
Aaron
Bob
Rodgers around,
Tanyan.
yeah, if you keep Aaron Rodgers around, like you could be looking at like back to back like Super Bowls, back to back Super Bowl appearances because that defense is rock solid. And that offense, I mean, you can let Aaron Jones go. I know you want to keep him around, but you got Jamal Williams and AJ Dillon who
Oh
can
no.
definitely fill in if you have that receiving core.
Yep. That's
But
where I'd like to see him. But yeah, quick
but yeah, so
fantasizing.
yeah, we can dream, and we will definitely talk about that in the off season if we get to that point where Juju actually gets to go.
You know he
Um,
is. It's okay.
what? Yeah. But let's just take a minute to recognize. I mean, I'm not wearing one of their shirts tonight. Are you wearing one of their shirts tonight? Are
I
you
am.
rocking the V gear tonight?
I am rocking the V
Well,
gear.
let's take. I have two on the way. I have the A Team shirt, which I thought was a awesome shirt, and I also have the True North Strong and Free shirt coming my way. So absolutely cannot wait for those to come. But we are talking, of course, about Viridian Global, our provider of the very best T-shirts. Um, we know you want to wear a gold jacket, just like the Professional Football Hall of Famers do. Well, we can't give you that, but we can give you the next best thing, and that is Gold Jacket podcast gear. And of course, just like the Slayton shirt there, and not even just Gold Jacket podcast gear. Viridian Global is providing the gold standard for gear that the podcasters wear. You can get t-shirts, sweaters, baseball shirts, limited edition shirts like you wouldn't believe. Find it all at truenorthffb.com/shop for the closest thing to a gold jacket you will get without keep going to Canton. Also, make sure to follow Viridian at Viridian Global, VERIDIAN on Twitter for all the latest apparel news, catalog launches, and so much more.
Yeah, man, love it. Decided I'd hit you with that mid promo clothing change there from the FF Astronauts hoodie, which is soft and comfortable like you wouldn't believe, to this Darius Slayton Slayer themed t-shirt, which is also soft and comfortable. Love Viridian Global. Awesome sponsor. And from one sponsor to the next, we're going to jump right in and we are going to go bananas. This week, we are looking at the Thursday Nighter. We hit last week's Thursday Nighter. If you were, you piggybacked on that one, right? You went bananas with me. We hit this week. I scoured and I found one between the Bucks and the Bears, and I like it. It's more or less. We're going with David Montgomery, 60.5. We're taking more. Taking more than 60.5 rushing yards. I know the Tampa Bay defense, I've been told, is pretty stout against the run, but we'll see. I think that's a pretty low total to go. No
It is a pretty
competition.
low total, especially with the Bears kind of struggling with Nick Foles, maybe coming to the realization that, he's a backup. He's a perennial backup. You don't invest in him as a starter. But we did see this past week the struggles that they are having from a passing perspective and from basically any perspective on offense. So it would not be outside the realm of possibility to see Montgomery go over that 60. That's for
60
sure.
yards is easy, man. 61, 60.5. I'm taking the more on that, man. And to pair with it in that more or less competition, it's Mike Evans, and it's 77.5 yards. I know there is a scare of Mike Evans not playing. This is the best part about Monkey Knife Fight. If you decide that you do not feel comfortable tomorrow and think Mike Evans is not going to do it, you can pull your bet. It's fine. I believe you have up to 30 minutes before game time. But 77.5, I'm hitting the more on that as well. It pays 2.5 to 1, I believe. So I'm dropping 100. 100 pays 250. So yeah, it pays 2.511. And we're gonna see it, man. And like I said, if there's any reports tomorrow that come out that say Mike Evans, because I know he did not practice today, but I'm still not worried about it. You can pull your bet if you don't want to. Again, like I said, if he's inactive, doesn't matter. But you can pull your bet after. But yeah, so for this going bananas this week, we're looking to roll again this Thursday. We're going Mike Evans, 77.5 more. We're going David Montgomery, 60.5 more. We're going more, baby. I want to see what's happening. Remember that, monkeyknifefight.com. Jump in
And
and
make
see
sure
how
to
fun.
use the code TNFF, and they will match up to $50. So
right.
awesome. I love going bananas, and I wish you all the best this week. And now we're going to roll into the gold or fool's gold segment, because that's a good transition, because I do have Mike Evans / any of the 4 Tampa Bay wide receivers who did not play as my gold or fool's gold at wide receiver. So let's get to gold. Who do you got as your gold QB? Who are you starting 100% at QB this week?
I got a guy that I'm starting. I was starting him last week. My brother-in-law told me he was co-owning, and they benched him actually. But I mean, they benched him for Aaron Rodgers, so it worked out. But I almost wanted to slap him. That was Lamar Jackson. I can't believe I've even heard he wasn't the first guy that I heard bench Lamar Jackson last week. After seeing the KC kryptonite, boom. But KC seems to be Lamar's kryptonite. I don't know why everybody was panicking on him to begin with. I've seen about actually 3 people say that they benched Lamar last week, and I don't understand why. He's gold. He's always going to be gold. Again, like I even told you, I got him in a trade this week. And I don't think I paid nearly what I should have paid for him, even if it was a redraft. But it's Lamar against the Bengals. Like I said, people seem to be panic selling. And if I could take a page out of Aaron Rodgers' book, it's RELAX. Just relax on him. He's an insta start, super flex. You fucking took him in one of the top 4 positions. Don't say you didn't. If you took him past 104, you got a goddamn gift. You play him. Start your studs. Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's a no-brainer. I started Russell Wilson last week against Miami. Wasn't a sexy game. He didn't get to the record I wanted to see him break, which was 30 plus fantasy points for 4 straight games. He didn't make it, just missed. I think he was around 26. But whatever, that's still a really good QB start nonetheless. And obviously, you should be playing Russell Wilson against Miami any day, every day. For me, my gold is Teddy Bridgewater. Listen, there's a few certainties in life: death, taxes, and Dan Quinn's defense getting burned by quarterbacks. So I'm rolling Teddy Bridgewater. I think that DJ Moore is going to have a game. I think Robbie Anderson is going to have a game. And that all equates to Teddy Bridgewater is going to have a game. So that is my gold start. What about running back for you? Who do you got going gold running back?
RB Gold is a guy I talk a lot of shit, and I took a lot of shit for in our ranking show for having him in the fucking top 12. I believe my exact words were, "What the fuck do you expect a Nick Chubb injury?" I said, "No, I don't wish injuries upon anybody." But guess what? He did get injured. Now he's on IR, and that guy's now Kareem Hunt, the guy that could have been an RB1 on any fucking team in the NFL. I said it before. Everyone's like, "Oh, Nick Chubb should have won the rushing title." Well, guess what? Kareem Hunt did win a rushing title. I don't know why everybody was shitting on him as a talent perspective. I get why they were shitting on him as a person, even though we're not looking at character here. We're looking at points. Character got your points. We'd all be drafting Walter Payton Man of the Year. Doesn't. Gets you points, is on the field again, and he's now the number one. And I keep seeing people saying, should I pick up D'Ernest Johnson? Should I pick up D'Ernest Johnson? Maybe, I guess, if that's what you want to do, but like, no. The people that drafted Kareem Hunt at such a low fucking price, are reaping rewards right now with him. I think I got him on like 12 rosters. Him and Gabriel Davis that are like my number one number one RB and core and wide receiver. But like, yeah, I'm reaping rewards right now. In some dynasties, am I flipping them? Yeah, a little bit, not too many. But this is what I drafted him for. He's going up against the Colts. He is going to feast. Don't ever get it twisted. He can catch it out of the backfield. If you think there isn't going to be extra attention on OBJ, you guys are fucking nuts. You think this guy going bananas with what do you have, 3-4 touchdowns last week, and you don't think he's going to get extra attention? It's going to open it up for Kareem Hunt, baby. It's going to be dump and dive and all day points. I'm telling you, this guy is going to feast. I don't know.
I love it. I love it. I love the passion for Kareem Hunt because I completely agree. Literally, Kevin Stefanski went from running this flawless 2 tight end system that he had going on in Minnesota, or this very strong one, to running a amazing 2-back system in Cleveland. He takes advantage of wherever he's got weapons, and he had 2 deadly weapons with Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, and now Kareem Hunt is the RB1, and like you say, it could be the RB1 anywheres. And OBJ, for those that think, oh, he's back to 2015 OBJ form, please relax. But for me, it's Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Man, the Raiders can't seem to stop anything when it comes to the run game. So for me, it's a simple play there because the Raiders are actually playing fairly well against every other position but the running back position. So I can pretty much smash play on any running back who's facing the Raiders this year. So I am definitely sticking there because expect Andy Reid to absolutely see that weakness in the defense and run all over them with Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Wide receiver, I'll start with the wide receiver. I'm going Justin Jefferson, man. Seattle is garbage when covering wide receivers. They will give up. They've given up 1,245 yards. Their nearest team to them for yardage given up, 845. That's ridiculous. They are literally 500 yards over, and this is to just wide receivers. Justin Jefferson is starting to emerge. If there's anyone who's going to get attention on that field, it's probably going to be Adam Thielen. And I think Justin Jefferson's going to have another game. He's coming into his own. He's been the wide receiver for the last 2 weeks. And like I said, Seattle's given up a ton to wide receivers. So it goes without saying that he should definitely have himself a game.
I like it. I'm going with the guy, Andy Isabella, playing the Jets. I'm taking the guy that everybody thought Christian Kirk would be. Ended up being Andy Isabella. with a lot of focus going to be focused on Nuke and the Jets just being the fucking Jets, somehow rolling out Adam Gase. How the hell do you have just real quick here, on a side note, how the hell do you have a presser and tweet release saying like before the game that Adam Gase, don't worry, Adam Gase is going to be fired. If you're putting out pressers before saying he's not going to get fired, like fucking fire the guy. Are you kidding me? Like just let Woody Johnson run the whole goddamn show. Like can't be any worse. Like
They're sitting here talking about this wizard with quarterbacks, and I think you know what I mean. That
the
now
wizard that fell into
now,
fucking a couple Hall of Famers.
and
That
now
looked like a wizard.
everybody's talking about how maybe they'll go for Trevor Lawrence. Man, you send Sam Darnold somewhere, that's like the next coming of Josh Rosen. Don't do it. Don't waste the talent. Sam Darnold is a great talent. He will go somewhere else and 100% succeed and prove the Jets organization that Adam Gase is useless. And they would probably waste Trevor Lawrence's talent too.
I do love, but for this week, seriously though, it's Andy Isabella. I think they're going to be in the red zone. He's shown a knack to catch those balls in the red zone. Shown a trust too by Kyler Murray to throw him the ball. Yeah, and with attention thrown to Nuke,
and
he's what everybody Kirk thought was going to be. Right? Everybody who thought, well, at least some people thought this was going to be what Christian Kirk was going to be.
Yeah, and the double coverage is going to be on Nuke, and it has become abundantly clear. It has become abundantly clear that the tight end position doesn't matter in this air raid offense whatsoever. No. For the people who thought Dan Arnold had an opportunity, I think that door has been slammed shut. No, you thought Ian Thomas had an opportunity in Carolina.
Everybody did. Everybody did.
I did not.
Oh shit, you didn't.
I didn't. We talked about. Go back to the
NFC
South
man,
episode.
But like,
I
come
said
on.
no. I said no. So
I said there was an opportunity, but like again, swing and a miss. I guess with all tight ends because Irv Smith hasn't done anything either. Apparently, we did not take the Kubiak effect.
Very frustrating. But speaking of tight ends, my gold tight end is going to be, and I hate to do this, man, because I want to see Jack Doyle succeed more than anybody in this damn world. Mo Alley-Cox up against Cleveland Browns. He's been the tight end 7 the last 2 weeks. He's proven a very capable, very reliable target that Phillip Rivers absolutely loves. And the Browns are the 4th worst versus tight ends. And with the targets beginning to run out for Phillip Rivers, Mo Alley-Cox and Jack Doyle are going to become the center of attention with Jonathan Taylor and Nyheim Hines in that offense.
So we didn't actually, this is the first week we didn't talk about who our golds and fool's golds were going into this, eh? Or I didn't demand I know.
Surprise.
Previous. Yeah, my gold tight end's Mo Alley-Cox, man. Guy's a fucking beast. Pretty much Big Bob Tanyan's on a bye week. So Mo Alley-Cox, here we come. He's the guy we're rolling out again. Guys like me. You got probably Goddard injured. Thank God Kittle came back because, like, again, two tight end leagues. I'm starting like Gerald Everett and hoping for the tight end. Yay, last week.
Hoping for the one touchdown saving catch.
Yeah, hoping for like the 1 week of fucking viable tight end. Same with, like I said in a league, I go, I need to make a trade. I go, Ryan Griffin isn't cutting it, and then like, I don't know, he had like a 10-point game or something like that. And I'm like, yay.
It's pretty sad when we're cheering for like one reception, one touchdown game. For those who might have played Cameron Brate last week and got like the one reception for 1 yard and a touchdown, that like 7.1.
Those people are happier than the people who started Calvin Ridley.
No. Or the people who are still starting Rob Gronkowski after the presser where he said he's back to block. And, we talked about it in the preseason, how I said he's there as a distraction, and he basically admitted it in that presser. But, the tight end position is a crapshoot this year. 100%.
That's a good segue in there to some fool's gold there by Rob Gronkowski, fooling everybody except for us because we're no fool. So let's get into that. Who is your fool's gold quarterback this week?
My fool's gold quarterback, and man, he's not even fool's gold. I don't own him anyways. I don't think that he's worth owning anyways. It's Baker Mayfield up against the Colts. The Colts are top 10 against pretty much every single position. And I think that that is going to be a stout. I mean, for Kareem Hunt, good. Kareem Hunt, you can hand the ball off to Kareem Hunt. He can run all day, and you know he's going to get a lot of opportunity. But as far as Baker goes, I think he's going to struggle against that Colts D. They've been stout against all positions. They've been stout in general. They go to war in tight games, and I don't think Baker Mayfield has what it takes.
My fool's Carson Wentz against the Steelers. Steelers have been really good. Carson Wentz has made some, I would say, questionable decisions. And at this point, I think the only thing that is still saving him from the Jalen Hurts mob is the fact that Jalen Hurts is doing in the NFL exactly what Jalen Hurts did in college, which is not be able to hold on to that football. What's that? Two fumbles in 2 weeks. If like I honest to God feel like those fumbles are what's keeping a lot of people at bay for Carson Wentz, but he makes some fucking bad
And
goddamn decisions.
it's so tough because you put Jalen Hurts out there as someone that you want the defense to take account of and that you want them to put a body on. But if all he's going to do is go out there and fumble the ball, or you know he's at risk of doing it, he's not that scary. Suddenly he doesn't become as intimidating of a weapon as Doug Peterson would like to have in that offense.
Well, here's my problem too. So I've been like defending Carson Wentz fucking all year and all last year, right? Saying like, oh, supporting cast, blah, 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 blah. Look what he did with no wide receivers catching over 500 yards, blah, 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 blah. What the fuck is Aaron Rodgers doing, man?
Yeah. Using his tight end.
He's using
Zach
fucking a
Ertz.
bunch of guys that nobody really fucking took seriously. Come on, man. He's doing it with the with a cast that's no better than what fucking Carson Wentz has behind him.
Listen,
Like-
I can get behind. I completely agree. Listen, I'm wearing my Eagles shirt. You're firing shots. TNFF smoke. He's even
I'm
noticed
not,
it. He sees
like-
the blood. But
I'm
like,
not like crushing you on it, man. I'm just saying this week, like I get it. People got to start him, especially in Superflex. Like there's fucking options, but like I think really right now you should be trying to fucking package him in any other deal, trying to get whatever you can get. It's not just the line. It's not just the weapons. It is what I'm seeing. I'm seeing bad decisions from him. Man. Like
it is bad
Carson-
decisions.
you know what he's doing to me right now? He is doing what I thought Josh Allen would end up making, the types of decisions. These are the types of decisions I thought Josh Allen was going to be making this year. He's not. It's crazy to me.
Yes.
Crazy to me.
Josh Allen. Yes. One of my favorites. We talked about him at length in the off season. But yeah,
Yep.
no, I listen, I completely agree as far as Carson Wentz goes. Listen, you're preaching to the choir. I'm an Eagles fan. Fuck fantasy. At this point, I watch this week in and week out, and it is excruciatingly painful to watch Carson Wentz and his decision making, holding on to the ball too long, throwing the ball into tight windows to rookie wide receivers. That this is like literally. So
And
this
laying
is
'em
week
out.
4. This is week 4. This is literally like the end of the preseason, and he's throwing these, and like he's top 3 for interceptable passes and top 3 for danger plays. Danger plays largely being the fact that he's literally putting his players' lives on the line every time he throws into a tight window, and it's just not right. Because John Hightower got a lot of flack for week 1. If you go back and you look at all the targets to John Hightower, it was as tight of a window as you could try and throw into. This isn't Deshaun Jackson. This isn't Alshon Jeffrey. These are your rookies, brand new to the team, didn't get a preseason with you, didn't get real game reps. Training camp does not count as real game reps. Sorry, Carson Wentz. Cornerback going half-ass in coverage is not counting it. It's not cutting it. So listen, I completely agree. I see the frustration. He's got to stop using these guys. He's got to wait for the separation. He's got to see the separation. He's also made a lot of bad decisions that the broadcasters have called out, where he's missing wide open targets completely. Now,
It's
who cares
an
about just the
overall
interceptions and the fumbles and stuff? It's an overall. He's got to take a week. He's got to calm down.
take
And
a week. He's had a whole off season.
he's
You
got to
got to be
take.
able to
He's got to
read
take
his
some. He's
defense.
got.
He's not being able to read a defense. He can't sense where pressure's coming from. He
Mhm.
gets sacked too much. He doesn't know where his check down read is. Like he's missing fucking blown coverages. It's everything with him. Like
Listen,
his entire
I could go on
yeah, we
about
could
this all
go
night. Like this
absolutely.
frustration, you're just getting me angry, and I got to go
But
to
like I
sleep
said,
after this.
as I thought he's acting more like I said Josh Allen would. It's a pretty good segue for my wide receiver, and my wide receiver is Josh Allen's wide receiver. He's a stud, but I think this week against Tennessee, you're not going to see him produce what you think he's gonna need to, and that's Stephon Diggs, man. Watch out for Gabriel Davis. I think he is here to do what I think he was here to do, and that's a lot of red zone drills, tight in between the 20s too. Um, he's a big body guy. I just sorry,
Can't say enough.
I
Can't say
lost
enough.
my train of thought there. But
If
yeah,
you
I just
want to hear Gymnastics say more good things about him, you can go back to an article that he wrote in March, prefacing his love for Gabriel Davis pre-draft, and now it's all coming to fruition. You can find that on
absolutely.
TNNFT True North FFP.
Absolutely. Sorry, man. I lost my train of thought. But yeah, I just don't think I think Diggs is gonna be your bus guy there in in Buffalo this week. I think it's gonna be a lot of Gabriel Davis and a little bit of Devin Singletary in there against the COVID battled Tennessee Titans if that game even comes to fruition. It seems to be I seem to call one game that doesn't end up happening. Last week it was Eric Ebron and the Pittsburgh Steelers, and this week it might be the Buffalo Bills. Oh, sorry guys. Last week it might be the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to wait and see. They have had 2 straight days without COVID positive tests, but you do have to remember there are 8 players that tested positive. Who are those 8 players? We've started to see some of them
You
move
can't
over to the
tell.
COVID list. Adam Humphries got moved to the list and stuff. There are some people being moved to the list, and at this point, if you're moved to that list and you're on a team who had the first breakout, we can pretty much assume the identity of those who have COVID. But at the wide receiver position for me is, I prefaced it earlier, it's any Tampa Bay wide receiver that plays. Whichever one's healthy. All 4 of the key ones missed practice today. Evans, Godwin, Watson, Miller all missed practice. That's probably more precautionary measure because of the short week. But Chicago's defense is stout. Chicago's defense is really good against wide receivers, and I think it's going to be a rough week. Not to say you can't hit on your 77 yards, but they are the only cornerback secondary group that has not given up a touchdown to wide receivers. So not saying
We're
you can't
not
hit your
doing hey,
77 yards,
we're not
but
doing the tutty dance here,
We're
bud.
not doing exactly. We're not doing the teddy dance. We're doing the yards. So
Yeah.
I'm not saying you won't get that. I'm just saying if you're going out there, putting a guy out there, hoping that they get like 15, 20 points, I don't think you're going to see it from a Tampa Bay wide receiver, especially with the way Tom Brady's looked recently. He's been up and down for me. And I think a Chicago Bears defense that's going to be in his face all night, plus the added bonus of really strong secondary, will make it very tough for Brady.
Absolutely. But I think you're gonna see him throw out at least a couple long bombs. I know he's not noodle armed yet. And I know, so I expect a few 30 or 40-yard tosses over there to Mike Evans for sure.
Definitely. Definitely.
Who you got
Right.
going in there for your tight end there?
Tight end. We're just gonna put
I'm
the
fucking
running
it up.
back on the back seat.
Absolutely. I wanna end on that argument.
Oh wow. You
You
go
got them
first.
all in the
Who's your
same
tight
thing,
end?
right?
Who's your tight end? Who's your tight end?
Well, I went with him for gold last week, but he didn't even play. So it's Eric Ebron against the Eagles. The Eagles cannot seem to cover a wide receiver, but the tight end, they definitely can. So I expect that Juju to eat, and I expect Deontay, if they play, if he's out of concussion. Is he still in concussion protocol? Maybe not.
I
But
don't think
whatever
he is.
wide receiver is playing, I expect a feast while Ebron does really nothing.
And I'm rolling with Austin Hooper. Continuing that train because a lot of people might think, oh, look, Hooper might be back because he put up 15.5 points last week. Oh, big deal. I don't think he's going to do it again. The Colts, the middle of the field there at the linebacker position is their gold. That is gold. Whereas the fool's gold is definitely going to be Austin Hooper this week because he is.
So you're stacking him with Baker?
He's been pretty disappointing. And if there's anyone who's going to actually get much of a game out, it'll probably be Jarvis Landry or OBJ, but definitely not to the tune of OBJ, week 4 OBJ.
No, absolutely.
What about
not.
the running back position?
So the running back position that I think is going to be fool's gold this week, it's Dalvin Cook. He had the injury scare last week. He's going up against the Seattle defense that I like, and
I like everything but the secondary.
Yeah, absolutely. And you were talking about it earlier, the emergence of Justin Jefferson, who was my rookie wide receiver 3 coming into the class ahead of Jerry Jeudy, behind Jalen Reagor and CeeDee Lamb. And I think, like you said, I think Justin Jefferson's going to end up having a game. And I don't think it's going to be a Dalvin Cook. And again, I am concerned about that injury scare. I know he did come back. I know he did end up finishing the game, but I'm a little concerned.
For me, I am going with, and it kind of goes hand in hand with Carson Wentz. I'm going Miles Sanders. That Pittsburgh Steelers defense is good against the run. They're really good in the middle of the field. And you know that if Carson Wentz is having a hard time finding his check down, this is a crew that's going to create a lot of pressure and be in his face all night, which is going to wreak havoc for Miles Sanders, who kind of had a bit of an off week last week, and that was against the 49ers defense that is still really stout against the run as well, despite the losses that they've had along that defensive line. So I think if you're rolling out Miles Sanders, you could be in for another frustrating week, definitely.
I love it, man. These are first round running backs that we think are going to just not give you the first round production that you really should expect just plugging and playing them in and week out, right? Like your first rounders, you just expect to literally, besides your bye week or injury, barring, like I said, injury, is just literally set them and forget them in your first rounder, right? Like that's what you're fucking banking on anyway.
But I mean, I think one thing we're learning in this COVID shortened or COVID restricted season is that you got to do your research and you got to know what you're doing, because this year it's really weird. It's going to be a weird year, and I think it's going to continue to be a very weird year for fantasy purposes. So you have to be careful to look at more than just the injuries, but also look at some of the matchups that are coming in, because sometimes those situations favor the defense more. But with that, we'll lead into our tips for chips, as we've kind of gone over our 1 hour limit. So we'll try and
we'll do this quick
with tips for chips.
What do you got?
I got this one because I saw so many people crying about it on Twitter last week. I was like, man, this is like fantasy 101. Start your late game players in the flex spot. Be prepared for the situations where I moved games, canceled games, or injuries like Devontae Adams and those types of things come up, where you may be able to potentially plug and play some random guy. Instead of putting up a goose egg, you could get a big old 1, 2, 3-point night from somebody else. Put your flex spots as people who are playing in later games, not the 2 p.m. players. Do even 5 is better than the 2 p.m. But I know a lot of people.
2 p.m. sounds fine.
Sorry, 2 p.m. my time. Sorry. Got to remember time zones here. But for this situation, like there's so many people who are going on about it, like the Devontae Adams situation, the the COVID situation and COVID interrupting games and getting in the way of games. And what do I do with Tyreek Hill and all this type of stuff? Or what do I do with Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Patrick Mahomes? These situations, that's what it's built for. If you build your roster accordingly, you won't have an issue if your flex spots stay open, and you might have a couple people you can drop into those flex spots. Worst case scenario.
I love it, man. That's like something I try to tell people all the time is get your Thursday players in the designated RB or wide receiver spot. Don't or tight end. Don't put them in your flex. Never ever rock a Thursday and don't rock Thursday in the flex. Is something I like to say as I piggyback on that. But so my tip, real quick, is know your league mates. Got to stay fluid. Know your leagues. Just because you try to send a trade out for say Dalvin Cook and price value is say I don't know 2 first. I'm just throwing some shit out there. Doesn't mean that's the same price value across every league that you're in, and every format that you're in, man. So, and again, because owners value different people, so you got to know those markets. So like I said, know your leagues, know your markets, know your league mates. Keep tallies on them if you have to, but like do something.
Just to piggyback on that, I had a guy I was talking to because I was looking at quarterbacks, and he brought up Josh Allen. And he's like, he's usually running for 3 firsts in leagues. And I'm like, basically almost shut down negotiations there because first of all, do I value him as worth 3 first-round picks? Probably not. So I don't care what you say the value is. You can suggest the value, but just because the ESPN trade machine or some other machines
are saying, listen to that.
Yeah, I know, but this is generally what people are getting. Or you're looking at other people's deals. I don't want to hear about that. I want to know what your price is. If your price is 3 first-rounders, okay, good, say that. But I don't really care about what you're seeing him go for elsewhere because we all value people differently. So I completely concur.
Even I value people differently, right? Like again, like I have a lot of James Robinson across leagues. I had 12 shares of him. I let him go in one league for I think a quarterback and I think it was a quarterback and a wide receiver, a lower end wide receiver, but it was a quarterback because I needed him in the flex position or in the super flex position. Another league, I traded him away for a first round pick and a lower end wide receiver because I didn't need the quarterback position. But like again, it's like, you know what I mean? Like I've traded them away, I think, in 3 different spots, and they were for 3 different deals, right? Like one was for a high pick, one was for a nice super flex fill in quarterback, and another one was for a high end wide receiver. All dependent on team need. Definitely. I still value, if you ask me my base price value, what I would think for James Robinson right now, I'd want a first round pick. That would be my base round pick. But and I guess this is a bonus tip for Ship that you should probably maybe I'll edit it out and use it for next week's. Yeah. Oh fuck, that thing just went away. Stay fluid too in your trading and always be team dependent.
Definitely. Yeah. I agree. Like this guy's in a full-on rebuild, so obviously he comes right to me and he says 3 first-round picks. Well, that doesn't necessarily mean
you also have a lot of draft capital then, right? You probably sitting with like 7 picks in the first 4 rounds or some shit.
Not the worst part is I really don't. I think it's 2 this year and 1 first next year. So it's like I'm selling the next 2 years of first-round picks for Josh Allen. It's like, yeah, I don't know about that. But that's just the thing. Everybody values everybody differently. So when someone comes to you with negotiations, let's not look at the market value. Let's talk. You see my team needs. I see your team needs. I'm approaching you for a reason. Let's talk. I don't care what you see from the rest of the market.
Love it.
Maybe that's just me, and I don't really necessarily care for the rest of the market, and I just want to be able to you evaluate my team and I evaluate your team, and we come to a consensus on something. But just because someone may be contending and someone sees that doesn't mean you come and say, "I want your first for the next 4 years." That's not
like you got
not good negotiating.
It's got to be team dependent. Like I said, you got to look at what's good for your team. But
absolutely,
I had a blast talking, man. It looks like we went over the hour mark here. We're at an hour 14. So with that, we want to thank people for tuning in. I want to thank Viridian Global for their sponsorship and always keeping me looking fresh on the live streams with all this fucking fly gear. But with that, let's close it out. Thank
And
you
so much,
guys.
also so much love for TNFF. By the way, True North Fantasy Football. Follow them on Twitter. Check them out, TrueNorthFFB.com or at TrueNorthFFB on Twitter. So much love for them. They have done so much for us and to put us in this position to be able to do what we do every night and do what we love to do.
Love it.
So enjoy and good luck.
All right, man. Where can people quickly find you online, Connor?
They can find me at Connor10 on Twitter, and I'm usually talking either Eagles or fantasy football.
Love it. If you guys don't know where to find me, can't believe you're watching this right now. But anyway, it's at Gold Jacket QBs. I'll be moving in I think a week, so next show will be somewhere else. Thanks for tuning in, guys, man. Make sure you check out TNFF on the YouTube network at TNFF Network and at Twitter at True North FFB and online at TrueNorthFFB.com, where you can check out all our rankings, articles, and all the cool ass merch and everything else that's going down. See you guys later.